Welcome back to the GFY Podcast, everybody. My name is Deluxe and my co-host D20. We are here and we are ready for another episode. But before we get into our next episode, definitely check out the last two episodes. We had some great guests with some great moments. If you haven't checked those out, definitely do so.
Make sure you check us out on our social media. You can check us out on Twitter or on Instagram. Also, no matter where you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or on our Anchor page, make sure you leave a like, a rating, a comment, something like that. If you're listening to it on YouTube, make sure you give us that thumbs up.
All right, today's guest is ShadowBeatz. He is part of the crew with D20 and I, but he is a jack of all trades. He's going to talk to you a little bit about his life and what exactly he's doing, and we want to go ahead and welcome ShadowBeatz. Beatz, my man, what's up? Hi, dude. Thank you for joining us for the podcast today, dude. Thanks for making time. We tried to get like so many more people than you, and you were the last one they said, okay, I can show up.
Yeah, I mean, you know where to find me. I mean, I shitty friend alert. I didn't even know you were doing these again.
No, it's okay. Not a lot of people do, Not a lot of people do. But I miss having you as like my co-host,
I miss the podcast.
And I'm going to be honest with all you out there in the interwebs. Shadow's probably going to be one of our first reoccurring guests that we have, just because.
Whoa!
I don't give a shit what you want. To be honest, Shadow, you're coming on this thing more than once. That's for sure. But Shadow motherfucking Beatz, if you don't know already, is a part of the crew. Crew is like a gaming group that we have. Me, myself, D20, Shadow, and some other friends that we have all have been gaming together for almost 10 years. And Shadow is one of our longtime friends.
Founder.
He's the founder. He really is. We like to say that he's not, and we like to say that this group and this group came together, but we all really know deep down that it's Shadow. Shadow actually created this thing, so
yep, it's me.
He's a big deal.
All me.
But if you don't know anything about Shadow, if you're coming in from someone else that you had interest in, or this is your first podcast you're listening to, and don't know who ShadowBeatz is, he is a gamer / streamer / musician / jack of all trades. He doesn't like to label himself. I like to label him, and that's basically what I think he is. So if you ask him, he'll probably give you a way different answer on all of that. But more than all that, he is one of my best friends, and I really enjoy his company. We basically clash on a lot of things, but we find an even ground when we talk about different subjects, and that was the main reason we wanted to bring Shadow on. Not that we're going to fight with Shadow on here, but that he does have an outside view that I respect majorly, because I figure if I'm going to go up against somebody, I want to go against one of my friends, and then I want to go against somebody that is like level-headed. I don't want to have an argument on here at any point in time, but he seems to find a common ground. Like I disagree with what you're saying, but here's how I feel, and so that's where Shadow, I think, really strives in a lot of things. Does a really good job of that. So yeah.
I don't know like the direction that you want to go with this, but I do want to say just kind of, I think that is something that is very important as far as just like conversation or public discourse goes or something. Like, it's important to try to at least understand where somebody is coming from, because it's not like, I don't know, pick a topic that is kind of controversial.
Abortion.
Like, just, all right, abortion.
Yeah.
Like, you got somebody who's pro-life and somebody who's pro-choice. Like, it's important to be like, if you are on the pro-choice side, it's important to be like, okay, like, it's not that they're trying to control people. It's that they view it as trying to save lives. And on the other side, if you're pro-choice, it's important to not be like, oh my God, these people just want to kill babies and be irresponsible. Mm-hmm. They're coming at it from a perspective of they don't feel it's right to tell people what to do and stuff like that. It's not. That is just so important to at least understand where somebody is coming from instead of just attacking. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I think we've had some conversations on this topic, not like deep conversations or anything, but we've found some middle ground on a lot of that stuff. And I think for both sides, the biggest thing with the abortion thing is that when you get into it, you got to have an open mind. Like, there's different situations where either side isn't put in a bad situation. It's not a gotcha game, and a lot of people try to do that with abortion. It's like, I got you. You believe this because you said this, and so it's not a gotcha game. It's a finding a heavy, you're on one side heavily, but there's a gray area for both sides, and I think we both got to meet in the middle on a lot of that stuff. But yeah, that's a great point, Shadow, of saying when you argue with someone or you're having a debate with someone, you got to open your eyes a little bit more, and I think that's as young humans that we have to start doing a little bit better than our older generations. Because I know my grandparents are very strict on certain things, and they are not getting pushed off. I think nowadays the younger generation really is kind of I want to say that they're doing better, but at some points, I think they get really rational. I think we still are always going to have the extremes on each end, but I think there's a lot more people in the gray area than there is people on the far extremes like there, I would say, in the older generations there are. So I think it's getting better.
I have a hypothesis as to why that is.
Go ahead.
The older, I think it's the internet, honestly. Like, the older generation, you didn't have a way with connecting with people, across the country, or let alone, in the next neighborhood or something, without, actually going and speaking to them.
That's a good point.
You were brought up and raised, your parents...
Yeah, your parents' values were your values.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only... That was
That's
the
all
only opinion that you really heard,
Exactly.
And so now, you get to, you just go on the internet and you're just kind of bombarded with everybody's different viewpoints and things like that. And
well,
so
I think that can be a good thing and a bad thing, because you look at it especially younger kids that don't know how to figure out what's fiction, what's real, kind of thing, because anybody can put their opinion out there. It's just like the flat earth stuff. Anybody can say whatever they want to say, and it doesn't make it true, but all it takes is a few people to be like, oh, well, that stuff makes sense. They can make a documentary about anything from any perspective, and, it doesn't make it all true. It just makes it a different viewpoint. So I think basically what you're saying is that, people need to look at things from different sides, not just, hey, I read this article on whatever, so it's 100% true.
Right.
Or, hey,
I think what I was more talking about was you at least are aware that there are different perspectives out there. Originally you're just oh, okay, my mom thinks this way, and so that's how everybody thinks. And then, you're brought up that way through years and years and years, and that it sort of just solidifies, where here you're at least introduced to the idea of, hey, just because they're your parents doesn't mean everybody thinks this way.
And also, I'm not saying it's 100% like this generation, but there's a lot more parents that don't parent. They're just put them in their room, let them, watch YouTube videos or whatever. So then someone else's opinions become those videos become those kids' opinions rather than, a parent's whatever. So they go and watch somebody else, and they're like, oh, well, this is what they believe, so that's what I believe.
I think that's a big part. I really do. I think social media really plays a big role in this. I think a lot of kids believe what they see from their idols and say, hey, that's the same thing that I agree with, even if it's wrong. I think there's a lot of people that just because someone said it, believe that it's true. I grew up in a household, back to what you were saying, Shadow, I live in a southern state, and so it's very common for both parents to be conservative, but my household, my mom was a liberal and my dad was very conservative. So I got a little both, from each side. My mom, has always been she's always been in a work environment with gay people and been very open to that idea. Some of her bosses, some of her coworkers were gay. And then my dad, he was very shut off to that. Like, he was raised in a whole household where that is against the Bible, that's sin, don't even associate with it. So them coming in and raising me, my mom was always like, that's okay. That's, that's the world we live in. You don't have to back it, but you have to at least, see that it's there in front of you, and you don't, necessarily have to be with it, but you got to tolerate it in some form or fashion. You got to understand that it's a real thing and not just someone making up stuff. So that was always a thing for me where I had a little bit of both, and where I had friends and their families that were always like anti this. So it was a little weird, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I talked a lot.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, sometimes like in your streams and other things like that, you catch flack for being controversial or being more on the side of, I don't know, I guess the minority as far as like some opinions and things like that. Is that more just you, or is that do you sometimes stretch it out like as a persona, or is it just kind of you just speak your own mind and
Wait, who's you, me, or
for you? Yeah.
For you, Shannon. Yeah.
Oh, well, kind of recently it's not a persona in that sense. Like, I don't.
That's a bad word.
I try to be like as real as I can, and I've tried to make more of an effort in the past years to literally question everything.
Which
right?
I don't think it's a bad deal. Because I think you have good intentions when you do that. But go ahead.
It's not even necessarily trying to take a stand against something. Like, I'm just kind of genuinely curious about why things are the way they are in our society,
yeah.
right?
I get it. Yeah.
I don't like, a big example is curse words, right?
That's huge. I thought about that today, Shadow. That's funny that you bring that up. Go ahead, man. I want to hear your point on this.
You're brought up saying, oh, you're not allowed to say these words. Like, you're allowed to say crap, you're allowed to say poop, but you're not allowed to say shit. And
well, you can't say
it's
that
just
on
like,
the podcast.
well, you can censor it, but it's just like, and I want to know why. And I still, as far as I've researched, it's just completely arbitrary. There's no reason. Somebody just really decided, hey, this word is bad. And so it's just like, it's not being edgy. It's not an attempt to sound smart or anything like that. It's just genuinely like, I want to understand how we got to where we are now.
But look, this is a great example, and I don't know if you've seen the movie Shrek. I figure most people have, though. But in the movie Shrek, which is that a Disney movie?
Pixar, I think.
Pixar, okay, whatever. Yeah. It's a child's show, okay? It is by a company that made it for children, right? In the middle of the movie, they call one of the characters a jackass. And everyone's like, oh my God, they can't say that. But that is a bad term in society, but we put it in a kid's show, and then, parents get questions about why did that donkey or that ogre say jackass? And then it's the term that is referencing towards a donkey. That's what you call a donkey. But ass is a bad word. Jackass is bad. If you call someone a jackass, they're going to get offended by it. It's a cuss word. But jackass, if you're going to be in the South and Southern Bible Belt, blah, 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 jackass is in the Bible. And so a lot of times I don't understand that either. Like, shit is one. Fuck is the best word in the English language. It is.
Really is.
It is the best because it does so many different things. It describes things. It describes.
It can be everything.
It can be everything. It literally
be a noun, adjective, adverb.
It is the best word of all time. But people get offended when you say it. Like YouTube, you can't put fuck in your title. You put fuck in your title, you're getting demonetized. But who makes up these rules, and why do we still uphold these same rules for these words that offend people? Like, if you ask any woman, I don't want to say any woman, but a lot of women, what is the worst word someone can call you? A lot of people say it's cunt. And cunt, to me, when I heard cunt, I was probably 14, 15 for the first time. I was pretty sheltered. But 14, 15, someone said cunt, and I was like, that doesn't faze me whatsoever or anybody around me, boy or girl. Like, I don't understand why that's such a bad word, too. Like, cunt is okay. It's like, I seem like that's one of the lower tier cuss words, than, like, calling someone a bitch. Like, that girl's a bitch, or that girl's a cunt. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think context is very, very important, too. But even in that sense, it's not necessarily the word itself. It's the intention behind the word that makes it bad. Like, if you just...
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, if you just, like, walk up to one of your friends and be like, oh, what's up, bitch? Like, obviously, that's not bad at all.
Exactly.
But if, you're in a fight with your girl or something like that, and you're just like, you are such a bitch, that has a little bit more weight. But again, it's not the word itself. It's
the connotation.
The barbs behind it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
And I do just want to say, racial slurs is a little bit different.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not in this category.
There is no context where saying that stuff is okay. Like,
I definitely agree with that, Shadow, and I think that's 100% true. Like, when you talk about cuss words and words that are off limits as far as racial slurs, those are two different things. You can't put those in the same category. There's not even close. So,
and it's just because those words exist to harm. Like, I just want to throw that out there before some fucking jackass comes in and says, "Oh, what about the N-word?" Like, exactly. No, shut up.
It's not a cuss word. In my mind, that is not a cuss word. It's not on the list of 50 cuss words that you can call somebody. That is not a cuss word.
He's got a big list.
You're making up more if you think there's more. Back to, like, the Twitch thing. I'm really intrigued about this. This is a good question, D20. Like, what I've been pretty edgy in mine as well, but I stay away from some of the very touchy subjects that sometimes you do, Shadow, with, like, religion and stuff like that. But I think it's awesome that you do bring it to light where a lot of people would not talk about those things for any circumstances. If someone asked me, hey, what's your thought on religion or whatever, I would probably go a little bit into it, but I wouldn't, like, crack the egg even with you. Sometimes I feel like you're finding the baby chicken and its name inside the egg already. When you open up some of those worms, and people don't like to get in those fights with you. And sometimes I've seen in your chat, and I'm not saying it just has to be religion, but I've seen other topics where people will get in a conversation with you and then bow out because they do not like what you're saying or the way you have described something. Like, there has been some pushback, and then you say something, and they're like, oh, he does have kind of a point. And what I've always admired about you, probably the most thing ever, is that you always say, this is my opinion, and this may not be true, but this is how I feel. And that goes a long way for me, and that's one thing I like watching your streams for, just because you do bring up those subjects, and you aren't afraid to talk about it. So,
I mean, I don't want to talk about me too much or talk me up or anything, but I do think that it's important.
You're the best guest we have this week, so
I'll take it.
Talk it up.
But I do think it's important. Like, I don't know. Apparently, it's against Twitch terms of service to talk about religion or politics or something like that. But I think that it is important to talk about those things because, like, those are the two taboos, right? Like, yeah. You grow up and like, oh, two things that you never talk about, religion and politics. And like, because of that, people don't know how to talk about religion and politics. People say like, oh, I don't like talking about it because it always ends up in a fight. Well, that's because you've never done it. You don't know how to tactfully approach the conversations because it's just been not something that you talk about. And I think that's really stupid.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like it's something that's that should be debated, but it's like taboo to debate it kind of thing. Like people, like you just kind of, it's kind of like the other stuff. I mean, it's cool to be different. So a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you know, like I don't believe in God or I do believe in God just because it's opposite of somebody else. And then when you get into the details of it, they have there's no background knowledge there. They don't have any research done. And I think that's what makes your streams interesting is that you do not really research, but you do want to know like where this information came from. Like, where's this coming from? And a lot of them that come in to argue, all they have is, you know, their parents said that there is a God, so they believe there's a God. Or their parents said there is no God, so they don't believe in God. Like, they don't have any kind of background to it. And
Right.
again, that goes with it, like, being taboo to argue it. But I feel like it's something that should be debated if people are wanting to feel so strongly for or against something.
Right. That's awesome about your stream, though, Shadow. I've seen your numbers grow in the last few months. I don't know if just because of the games you play or the way the face cam. Hey, face cam has been great for you though. I don't know what makes you decide when you're going to do face cam or not. Is it just how you feel that day, or is it a certain things like a raid or something?
I mean, it's experimentation and stuff like that. I mean, it's so stupid. Like, just one day I'm like, hey, you know, I think it was like for Minecraft Monday or something. I was streaming. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna turn the face cam on. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna add that to my tweet too. And like,
Face reveal.
I had been live for like half an hour or something, and then after I turned the face cam on, I just added to the tweet like with face cam, and then like instantly, just like 250 more people came in. It's like, fuck off.
I think it is like a bigger, I mean, people like to see other people live life, and it's so weird that that's a thing. But I remember the first gamer that kind of did that I can remember. Maybe you know other people, you too, but the first person I saw was C-Nanners. C-Nanners added a little box, and he had all these other stats too as he was playing Modern Warfare 2, I believe. Yeah. And he added his face cam, and he was playing, and I thought it was so intriguing. I didn't watch the gameplay. I just watched him and his facial expressions. I was like, I do that same face. This is how I react when I die. This is cool. And so he had a lot of aesthetics on the screen, like kill streaks, all that stuff, that little checkpoints that he wanted to hit during the game, and then also things that kind of kept up with stuff. So I thought that was pretty neat, and the first person I saw do it, and it's addicting. And if you can, and there was an error in which, I don't know if it's PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye, any of those guys, but when they started added face cam, it was a whole new dimension. They started doing it really, really well, and it started like to blow up big time because people were just watching them as they play games, and people like us that weren't adding face cam, we were suffering because of it, just because people like watching people play games or live life. That's what I try to say, because people do ASMR, people do all these different other things, just chatting or whatever it might be. So I think that's just an extra added tool, but I've enjoyed it because he does have a cat cam too. He has his cats on cam. And then I think the other day I saw you play the piano. Am I wrong on that? Or was I just dreaming?
I went over to the piano and hit notes.
There you go. He went over to the piano and hit notes.
I wouldn't call it playing the piano.
But if you haven't checked him out, it's ShadowBeatz on Twitch, correct? With a Z.
Yes.
Okay. How did you get that name in the first place? Like, where did ShadowBeatz come from? Because I don't know if I know the entire story behind that.
Well, my first gamer tag, Xbox Live gamer tag, was Shadow2130, which...
Classic. Or 2130.
I mean, I wanted my gamer tag to just be Shadow, because shadows are cool. But obviously that was taken, so I'm like, fuck. So then I tried Shadow 1, and that was taken. So I'm like, fuck.
That's everybody's obvious.
And then I tried Shadow 2, and that was taken. Yeah. Then it was like, okay, Shadow 21, that was taken. I'm like, all right, you
2,000 times later.
No, then it was 213. I'm like, this feels good. There's no way. And Shadow 213 was taken. I'm like, what the?
It was 2013 at the time.
So then I added the 0, and that's where 2130 came from. And then in like July of that year, when we started doing YouTube and stuff, I'm like, you know what? I want to get into this music thing. And so that's when I'm just like, I dropped 2130 and just changed it to Beats.
With a Z,
edgy. I put it with a Z so people knew I'm cool.
No, if you're really gonna be cool, you could have took all those numbers that you left out and put them inside your name. The SH4D0WB3.
Yeah,
that would have been legit.
XX.
Yeah, yeah. Put a couple X's in before and after, and you've been legit for sure. Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's cool. I think it fits you. Like I've met you in real life, and I think
with
Shadow. Yeah, with his Mets hat. And I think Shadow fits you very, very well. I don't know if Deluxe fits us very well, but it definitely Shadow fits you very well. So I like the name, and I don't think I could ever see you as anything else.
I'll take it.
I like it.
It's the best we get.
And
where'd your
go ahead?
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, where'd your draw to music come from?
I've always been into music, and like even when I was a kid. Like, whenever I'd go over to somebody's house and they were fucking rich or something like that and they had a big-ass piano in their living room, like, I would always ask, like, hey, is it okay if I play the piano or something? And, like, I would just hit, like, one note at a time and pluck out melodies or something like that. I'm not, like, a prodigy, but it was so fun trying to make melodies. Same thing if somebody had a guitar or something. But it wasn't until after I graduated high school that I realized, hey, I like doing this. And it was in 2010 that I found out that, there's these programs online, or not online, but programs that you can download for your computer where you can compose music and you don't need to learn how to play an instrument or anything like that. You can just do it. And I'm like, oh, well, cool. I was under the impression you had to go to like music school or learn how to do an instrument or learn music theory, but no, you just download a program and see what sticks.
It's that easy. I will say this. I wanted to bring this up because I don't know the full conversation. We've had conversations about it, but some of our friends won't shut the heck up, and I can actually hear what's going on, what actually happened. But you had Deadmau5 in your stream one time, correct? Am I wrong with that?
Yes.
And what did he say to you? Like, were you doing music at the time, or were you just playing games?
I was doing music.
And what did he say?
I started playing, the Exorcist theme, the Tubular Bells.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was playing around with some Tubular Bell patches in Reason, and I just kind of like fucked around and started playing it on my keyboard. And then he just said something like, oh man, those Tubular Bells. I wonder what Mike Oldfield's up to now. And that's it.
Oh man.
That's it.
Did you acknowledge
and I didn't
him, or did you like what?
I don't know, but I didn't realize it was him at the time. Like, I don't know how I missed it. I don't know if he like didn't have his check mark on or whatever. But I remember responding to what he said, but it wasn't until after somebody was just like, hey, Deadmau5 was in your chat. And then I went back and I'm like, well, shit.
That's pretty cool. I don't know if I was around at that time or I saw it in our little chat that we have, but I thought that was really cool that he came in and just was hopping around and seeing what was going on with the music.
He does that.
I think he's off of the platform now. I think that he quit. He had some conversations with Twitch and said, I'm out of here, I think, because they wanted to copyright strike him or something. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's the case, but whatever.
So do you have anybody in your family that's musical, or is it just something that you were interested in? Nobody in your family plays any instruments or anything?
Nope. I have an uncle who, I guess, dabbles in guitar, maybe a little bit more than that.
I thought that was going somewhere.
But
he dabs. Got it.
I had an uncle that dabbles
all the time. But he's not really a part of my life. I think I've seen him like twice. He lives in California or some shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nobody else in my family has any. I don't want to say they don't have any musical talent.
Right, but
I think like they just
music.
they've just never tried. And I think this might just be me being like a jackass because I have some musical aptitude, but I really do think that music is not as hard as people make it out to be. I mean, if you just sit down at a piano, I feel like people know what sounds good. And you might not be able to bang something out in like 5 minutes or something, but I think like even idiots like you two, if you set it, like if you came over or you downloaded Reason or Fruity Loops or whatever, like you would learn how to use the program and you would be able to make something that sounds good.
I daydreamed once in 5th grade. Miss Black, by the way, I'm sorry that I was daydreaming in your class. And
I think she died.
Did she really? Wow.
I think she really
I
did.
loved her. She was great. She was one of my favorite teachers. But anyways, D20 and I went to the same school, by the way. But I daydreamed one time in her class, and I fell behind on what music notes did what, and I loved the class. I just didn't want to take up any brain space with music whatsoever. I love music. I'm very tone deaf. It's like a foreign language to me. I don't want to start and take up any of that, brain power to even try.
Dead air space.
Yeah, the dead air space up there. I don't want that to go towards music. I would just listen and nod my head and, and mindlessly, pretend that I'm really good at music or that I can sing the right lyrics, which also pissed Shadow off very, very much. But do you see like any of this, Shadow, going any direction for your like career? Do you think that's going to get more musically or more gaming wise? Or
Well, I will say something like before we say this. For somebody that didn't even draw any interest till after you're out of high school and stuff like that, like even though we do joke about it and it's controversial and all that stuff, like you did get your song played on the radio, on satellite radio. So I mean that. Even though it was controversial.
Yeah, even.
But the fact that you even got it there is impressive for somebody that has no musical, training or anything like that.
I mean, that was
Fuck the Chainsmokers.
What? Who said that?
No, who said that?
I think that's more. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but I think that's just more because it had a decent amount of views because of a YouTube following or something. I don't think it was because it was like good.
Well, and I mean, I don't think it was like your best song of all your songs.
I don't think so either. I think
but
that was,
at the same time,
that's still a banger. It's a banger song, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know who the hell.
I still think it's impressive that you would, I mean, even to get it played on a radio station, just in general. I mean,
that makes one of us.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, there's people that spend their whole life doing music and never get on the radio.
Shadow has 3 songs that have over 1 million views. Is there anywhere else also that you play these Spotify or anything like that has your music on there?
There's like 2 songs that are on Spotify.
What do they have?
It costs money to do it. I don't know. I don't.
Well,
a billion views.
Well,
over
you have
1 billion views.
Pulse
More than the
Ecstasy,
Bible.
of course, that has 1.9 million. You have Just One More Night for 1.7. And you have Just One Night for 1.6. I'm just saying, that's pretty good, dude. That's pretty freaking good with those songs.
Well, yeah, but
I
gotta talk about it.
He didn't even mention Speedy Outro.
Exactly. What?
No, just kidding.
It's an inside joke. Okay. But yeah, do you see your career going anywhere from here with music, or do you want to just keep it like you are now, like where you put like 1 or 2 songs out a year and just keep it that way?
I haven't really thought about wanting to do anything like that in that aspect. Mm-hmm. I'm not a very forward thinker in that aspect. I just kind of go with the flow. But
Gotcha.
I mean, lately I haven't really done anything with music just because I don't want to spend too much time on fucking midlife crisis or anything, but I'm questioning whether I've been sticking with music for so long because I actually like doing it, or if it's something that I can like hold on to.
I think everybody goes to that.
I can tell people, because like, somebody says like, "Oh, what do you do?" I mean, if you say like, "Oh, I make music," like people can get behind that. People are like, "Hey, that's kind of sweet."
But they also want to hear it though, which has got to be annoying.
It is kind of annoying, but that's also
Yeah,
like,
sing
what do
something
you do?
for us.
What do you do?
Sing something for me.
Here, take this guitar.
I play
play
video
something.
games.
Yeah,
I upload video games to
that's
the
tough.
internet.
I think it's more accepted now, but when we first started, if you don't know, Shadow, his channel has video games and music on it all at the same. And we had met each other on Call of Duty, and then we had gone on to different games, GTA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he has a lot of those games on his channel too. And when someone comes up to you, even, I don't know, how many years have we been doing this for, like, money? Probably 6, 7-ish. At the beginning, it's like, oh, I put music and I put YouTube videos on gaming. Yeah, okay. And then it was like, what? I don't understand. Like, my parents had no clue what the hell was going on. They're just like, yay, like clapping, yay, good job. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it got into like more of a career. When, you know, like, what made you turn gaming from like a hobby to a job is basically what question I'm trying to get to you. Was it the
More
crew
money.
or was it money? What was it for real?
It was money. I mean, it got to the point. I had a job where I would drive around delivering tires, and I loved that. Like, it was. I'm somebody who I enjoy driving, and
Didn't know that.
oh, I love it. And it's just I'd go in, I'd drive all over the state, like sometimes like 2 or 3
Are
hours
they
out.
brand
and
new
then drive
tires,
back.
like used tires? What are we talking here? Delivery?
Yeah, I deliver them to like mechanic shops.
Okay, so they ordered them and you came.
Yeah, they order them from the warehouse, and then I deliver them.
Oh,
And I loved it. It was great. The only thing that I didn't like about it was how early I had to wake up. The sleep was really taking a hit, but
what age did you do that, Shadow? Like,
20. I was 23. That was 2013. I was doing that.
oh, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah,
you were working at a sub shop.
A restaurant? Yeah, I did that. And then after doing that for like 5 or 6 years, I was just like, all right, I need to change the scenery. And then somebody said, hey, you know, you can, you know, there's an opening for a job, you know, driving around delivering tires for this much an hour. I'm like, oh, that's more money than I'm making now. And then, you know, I did that for a year. And then eventually, that's like 2013. That's when, you know, we started really blowing up for the crew. Not necessarily me, but the crew in general. And I'm like, oh, well, it got to a point where is this delivery job affecting my ability to make more money with YouTube and stuff like that? Because, like, I have to wake up at like 6 a.m., 7 o'clock in the morning, and I know, you know, some people out there who do that all the time, like roll eyes, but I am a night owl, and I don't get to sleep until like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Do you have any like crazy stories from that job, by the way? Because it seems like you would see the craziest stuff early in the morning like that, or run into like assholes while delivering tires, or people thinking you're doing something else.
Not really crazy stories. I mean, there was one guy. I was on the highway, and I was trying to merge at the same time. Another guy was not trying to merge, and we sort of just like, we ran into each other like side by side. It wasn't like a terrible accident, but you know, it was.
You ain't rubbing, you ain't racing, baby.
It was still an accident, so we had
GTA days, so you're like, just flipped him off and kept driving.
No, you know, we had to stop on the side of the road and, you know,
exchange information.
talk about it and be like, oh, all right, now we gotta call it. And, you know, the guy called the police. And then, like, 3 minutes after he called the police, he's just like, cause I think his mirror broke. Like, his mirror broke off. And, like, 3 minutes after he called the cops, he's like, you know what? I'll take care of this. And then just bounced. I'm like,
what do I do?
And now you're on a high-speed chase.
And I should have probably stayed and explained to the cop what happened, but I didn't know what to do, so I just left too.
Oh no! Well, I guess I ain't gonna catch you because I mean he probably doesn't.
Well, yeah, but like I just kept. I felt so bad because I felt like, oh well, now that cop's gonna come there and you're gonna think that wasted.
So
time
you
was
caught up
wasted or
with him,
something.
shot him in the head, and made his car.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wrecking.
But no,
I
just
yeah.
nothing came from it. But I went back. I said what had happened to my boss, and yeah, that was it.
Okay. That's got to be a weird situation though. Just
yeah, it was
awkward.
pretty weird. But yeah, like there was no.
He probably had no insurance, or his was expired, and he was like, you know what? I'll take care of this later.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like,
yeah, that's got to be
sketch.
it, dude. That's really sketchy. Yeah,
that was sketchy as hell.
Yeah, you should have probably stayed for the police. And did you? If you got his information, you could have turned it into police, and then he's evading the scene of a crime.
Well, I mean,
Whoop, whoop.
I don't want to
he did
send
too,
him
though,
to
since he
jail.
left. Yeah.
Well, I know what Shadow did now, but if he would have stayed, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're telling us, you still got a warrant out for your arrest, and so it
Right.
should
Yeah.
still-
We found the boys. It worked.
I should have still.
Been a 10-year sting, but we got him.
I panicked though, man.
We got
I
it.
do not do well thinking on my feet like that in those kind of situations. Like
Really? You're pretty witty. I'd put you as like number 2. I think D20 is probably the wittiest guy we have, and then you're
I don't
probably
know
number
about
2.
No, I guess like in an environment where
You're
I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit different, but like if I'm out and about, like I have absolutely no street smarts whatsoever, and it's things that like give me time to think, and I will probably come up with the right thing to do in a certain situation. But yeah, in the moment I always mess up. Like there was a few weeks ago. Sorry if you guys want to talk. Fuck you.
No, we love listening to you, man. Go ahead.
It was like sometime in the winter. I went to grocery store. I think I might have told you guys about this. There was some guy in the grocery store who, I walked in. It's like 1 a.m, and we make eye contact, and so I nodded him. He's like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey," just casual, nice conversation, and just went about my business. And I noticed that he asked the person at the register, like, "Hey, where's your restroom? I need to use the restroom." And it's all the way in the back of the store. Didn't think anything of it. So I'm shopping, minding my business, and 5 minutes later, he sees me walking down one of the aisles, and he walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, buddy, can I get a ride to the hospital? My wife is sick." I'm like, no, just because it was really, really weird. Because first off, if you really needed a ride to the hospital, wouldn't that be like the first thing you say instead of "Hi, buddy"? Yeah.
Or even like talking to the person at the register or whatever, like talking to them before you just go back and go to the bathroom.
And I mean, it's an innocent enough request, so why are you A, whispering, and B, catching me in the aisle where there's no cameras? So I'm like, should have asked. I should have checked if he had like a wedding ring or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, like asked for a picture of his
so
wife. But I'm just like,
nah,
no, I'm good. And then, it turns out like the cashier was just like, I don't know about that guy. He's just be careful with him. He's been in and out of the store like 12 times in the past hour. He asked if he could use the bathroom, but he didn't go back there. And I'm like, huh. And then as I was walking out, he was just like walking around the parking lot. And he just like yells at me. He's like, "You giving me a ride or not, man?" And I'm like, "No."
Nah,
and that's how you met Sidearms for a reason.
And I was just like, fuck, but I should have done one of two things. Cause like, what if he actually did need a ride to the hospital and he had no tact? I should have just been like, "You want me to call the cops for you?" And,
yeah, that's what I would do.
Ride?
If you have no other way whatsoever, call the cops. They'll help you out.
Yeah. But I should have either done that or I should have called the cops to the scene anyway.
Right.
Because I was just afraid, like, dude,
Sketch.
what if somebody's just gonna murder us?
Or just say, hey, I already called the cops. They're on their way. Don't worry, they'll help you out, and he'd take off.
But yeah, like, what if he takes out a gun and shoots me in that situation? I don't know.
I mean,
I would think, like, if I worked at the store, I would probably call the cops and say, hey, this guy's coming in and out, and he's asking everybody to take him places and all this kind of stuff. I'd probably just call, just have him come up there anyway if I was working at the grocery store.
Yeah, it was...
Number one rule, never let anybody in your car that you do not want. If it's a then it's a no. It's a no. If you have to think about it, it's a no. Never, ever, ever.
I made D4 walk a lot.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
You're good.
I don't know. It's like, whatever, dude. I'm like, man, we need to go to the hospital. I'm dying. You're like, nah, you're good. Walk it off.
No, you're good.
Walk
Walk
it
it
off.
off, man.
Walk
Put
it
some
off.
dirt, rub some dirt on it. All right, let's get into our game section of
Heck
this.
yeah, dude. It's my favorite part.
So, Shadow, since you haven't watched our other episodes, you don't know much about this, but
where
we'll
we
do just a
embarrass
couple.
you. No,
It's not even really like games. It's just like a couple of things where we ask questions and stuff like that. Anyway, the first one that we're going to be playing is called "What Are You Digging?" and it's pretty much just we're going to give you a question and you just answer
give us
it
a
pretty
quick
much.
answer. Yeah, don't give us. You don't have to give us a long answer. If you want to, go ahead, but you can just give us a quick answer, and we're okay with that.
Okay.
All right, so the first one, we probably kind of know where you're heading on this one, but what food can you not get enough of?
Chicken tenders.
Really,
Chicken tenders,
you're a
what?
chicken tendy guy. Hey, any sauce?
Honey mustard.
Hell yeah, my man. High five. Heck yeah, dude.
So where's your go-to place to get chicken tenders at?
Yeah.
My house. I buy
My man.
chicken tenders from the store.
Tyson?
Tyson,
Purdue.
my man.
Perfect. So do you
Literally,
just
like,
go with
not-
the, where's your favorite honey mustard place? Just
Heinz.
your house, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I order a whole bunch of, I just ordered like 100 honey mustard cups at a time from like some restaurant store.
Hit him up with a D20.
Yeah.
My man. Heck yeah, dog.
I'm actually
All right.
running low. I gotta order more.
Oh,
All
damn.
right, so our next question, if you could play one game right now, what would it be? If you're just chilling
I know
out
the
playing a
answer to
game,
this.
what would it be?
Destiny.
Yep. Dude, this man is a beast at Destiny. Hey, what was that tweet I saw you tweet? There was like, it said like 700, 700, 700, had all these different tags on it. What was that?
Those are like emblems that you can equip to your, character, kind of
Yeah.
like you can do in
Yeah,
COD
yeah,
and
like COD,
Mordhau. But those are the numbers in the bottom right for the emblems, like track certain things like kills or scores
I
and
know it sure
certain
said
strike
like
or something.
69, 69.
Yeah, it's all 69 stuff.
Very, very mature of you. I like it. Nice.
What other game might you play?
Satisfactory. Why?
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like you're
Oh,
trying
I'm
to
just
be
asking. I was just asking for more besides. I just
Destiny.
didn't know.
If you go to his stream, he's
Destiny.
probably playing Destiny, but if not, it might be Satisfactory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good game. Oh,
All
I
right,
like
so-
watching your Minecraft, by the way, too. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's right. The next question is, what YouTube channels do you watch outside of? Do you watch a bunch of like gaming stuff, or you watch music stuff, or
How
you
to.
watch something completely different?
It depends. Just whatever I'm in the mood for. Like I'll do gaming. I'll do, some science channels. It's more of a guilty pleasure, but like religious debate channels.
See, I knew it. I'm just kidding. I didn't know.
Yeah, and it kind of. I think I say guilty pleasure. Like I don't use these to form my opinion or something because I think debates are actually quite stupid. How about we just talk instead of arguing your point over and over and then trying to rebut when somebody makes a good, like, that's not the objective of whatever. Next question.
All right. The last one for the what are you digging? Since you're a music guy, what music is on your playlist right now? So if you got on to
Anime
starting to listen to music.
Whole bunch of anime openings.
Like what animes?
There's a whole bunch. Like Promise Neverlands. opening. I mean, like, you ain't gonna know what they
I know,
are.
but other people might. I know I'm not.
See, I can only talk to you guys. It's kind of like, when your mom is like, oh, where are you going? Oh, I'm going out with friends. Oh, which friends? Oh, people you don't know. Like, I'm going out with Mike and Billy and Christine.
You know Mike and Billy too. Nice.
What difference does it make? Troy, Larry?
Troy, Larry, and everything.
The use. That's good though.
Just
Cool. So the next one that we're going to do is a new game, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. What we've done is we've picked some weird different headlines, and we're just going to kind of talk about those a little bit. D4, you want to?
All right, so the first headline I found, and this is right up your alley. If you don't know, Shadow is from Pennsylvania. I'm doxing him right now, but he's from Pennsylvania. And so this one I got especially for him. In the news, this was middle of the month, last month. This happened in your state. A 5-year-old kid brings crack cocaine to preschool. Yeah. Is that a thing? And not only is this preschool at a school, but the school is inside of a Roman Catholic church. Is that normal in your neck of the woods? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, that was my kid, first off.
Exposed.
Is it normal? No, it's not fucking normal. What the hell? Like, what? It's like, maybe in Florida, where you hear, like,
Dude,
Florida man.
Have you done that? Have you searched your name with Florida?
I didn't.
Or your birthday?
I didn't get any.
What do you mean you didn't get anything?
I didn't get any good results, man.
If you're a person out there listening to this right now, do this. This is the best thing ever. Go, just put in your birthday. So mine would be like January 21st, and then you would put, not the year, just put January 21st, Florida man. And then when that happens, it's going to pop up with something. I'm going to type mine in really quick just to see and prove. Just put January 21st, Florida man, and then you see whatever happens here. And then the first thing comes, Florida man, woman ran over by a patrol car while lying in road to watch eclipse. That's what happened on my birthday. So a Florida man ran over a woman by a patrol car while lying in road to watch eclipse. So go type your birthday in.
Sounds about right.
And then, that's goofy, but anyways, but I thought that was pretty cool. But anyways, moving on to our next one. We're going to stick, actually, we'll switch it over a little bit. All right. So this happened in Denmark. There was a candidate that was running for office in Denmark, and instead of posting his ads on normal sites, he went to Pornhub. He went to Pornhub to put his ad space on there, which is pretty smart. I will say that is super smart because, I mean, you're going to get a lot of men out there that are looking at all the ad space and other things, and, that's going to pop up and that's going to stick in their mind, don't you think? Like, that's pretty smart.
It's absolutely brilliant. Plus, I mean, after you bust a nut, that's when, you're making the
clarity.
Right, that's when you go straight to vote.
That's actually really good. Oh my God.
This guy.
But it turns out this guy was a silver medalist, and he's running for Denmark's parliament. So this guy's a winner. He might have got second, but he's number one in our hearts, that's for sure. But yeah, takes out ad space on Pornhub. Very, very cool. All right. Last headline that we had that was kind of wacky. This is some weird news here. I don't know what we're going to call this segment, maybe weird news itself. But back on the Pennsylvania ideas, this child discovered $40,000 worth of meth inside a box of Legos. So let me read the little thing for you. When 3 Georgia women found a box of Legos in a consignment shop in Charleston, South Carolina, they figured it would be a good fit for a child back in Statesboro. But when the kid finally opened up the box, it didn't find any Legos. It found 3.2 pounds of methamphetamine worth $40,000. So this was in like a Goodwill. So you go in, you buy some Legos, and what you paid $5 for it. Now you got $40,000 in your pocket because you're selling the methamphetamine on the side of the road. So pretty good.
I think this is a good thing for the kid. I mean,
yeah.
Who wouldn't want to get $40,000 for their birthday? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And first of all, it's going to be tax free. You get that kid out hustling. He learns what a good work ethic is.
Yep.
He starts bagging it up. He's slinging it on the corner.
Yeah.
And it's a good life lesson. Plus, he gets $40,000 for his birthday present.
Exactly.
And this was Pennsylvania, you said?
No, it was in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But dude, that's pretty smart. Pretty smart. Why would they tell anybody? I would just keep it. Maybe try it a little bit, Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, there was actually $50,000 worth of it.
Got to keep a little bit of the profits, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude. That's number one drug dealer rule is like you don't smoke all your stuff up.
Don't smoke away the profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it like you keep the good stuff for yourself and
I don't know about that.
I think you just chop the good stuff up with the bad stuff and sell it.
Wasn't that one of your other jobs? You've worked at a sub place. You worked selling tires, now selling meth. What was that? The thing?
It was. Oh, you know what? That's what it is. It was PCP that we sold, but we in order to increase inventory, we just like mix some water in, like you do with hand soap.
Yeah, exactly. You down with PCP? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our weird headlines for today.
All right, we're kind of wrapping up the whole thing here, so we're going to give you some time here at the end if you want to promote anything or talk about anything you've got going on any of your channels or anything like that.
Well, I'm glad you asked. You know me, I'm all about promotion of my stuff.
I'm glad you came to this group outro.
No, I mean, I stream on Twitch. I'm trying to... Oh, actually. Yes. Come do that. Because I'm like weaving it out. It's going to be fantastic. Got a whole bunch of like anime characters as mascots that I'm getting made up and they're fucking adorable. You should come check me out. Twitch.tv/ShadowBeatz.
Nice.
If you're a weeb. If you're a normie, you get the fuck out.
If you're not, then get into it.
If you're not a weeb, you're not welcome.
And bring up some great topics with Shadow because he loves to talk about religion. So that's for sure.
I really do. That's not a meme.
So funny. I don't know. He really does. Like I've known Shadow for so long that it's just normal to me to bring up that stuff. But Shadow, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast today. I appreciate that. I know we'll have you back very, very soon because you're always a great mind to talk with and share a little friendship with. Thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. We really appreciate it. We've been blown away with all the support that you guys have been giving us. You've been leaving 5 stars. You've been checking us out on all the links down below, which is amazing. We are going through the charts, and I appreciate all the support. So if you can leave some support, definitely do that, whether it's a like, a rating, or whatever it is. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next episode.